How about now? All right, good, it works. Okay, so this is what it's like from over here. Okay. All right, stream should be up and going now. Okay. Hoping this looks good. Hoping you can see me. My other monitor is not working great, but hopefully this one should be working fine. I do believe everything is working right now. Okay, so I think we're good. All right, hello everyone, and welcome to this live stream. We're looking at the primary for the Kentucky 4th District, and the polls went live at around 6 p.m. We do have some early results out of this district thus far. If you've been following this race, you'll know Ed Gallrein is the Republican challenger to the incumbent Thomas Massie. Ed Gallrein has been endorsed by President Trump, and Trump has been a very big vocal advocate for him in primarying out Thomas Massie. So we're starting to get our first preliminary results in this primary. Let's see. Oh, RJ the Quizzer commented, "Hello again, watch from the UK. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining." Uh, so yeah, we're starting to get our first results here. We're at 3.65% of the vote in, and we have some early results out of Kenton County with right around 20% of the vote in. Gallrein is up by right around 54.7 to 45.3. For Pendleton County, only 1.69% of the vote is in, and it is a early lead for Gallrein here as well, 33 votes to 16. And then we have Lewis County, 8.9% of the vote in, and Massie is winning here, 64.5 to 35.5 in this one. So only 3.65% of the estimated vote in. Still have a very long ways to go here, but off to an early lead for Ed Gallrein, who has 2,375 votes. Thomas Massie is 2,073 votes. In terms of the estimated vote remaining, the largest counties in this district are Boone County, which has roughly 22,931 estimated remaining votes, and also Kenton County, which does have some votes in for Ed Gallrein, is the second largest estimated remaining at 16,501. Also, it shows the rating for Democratic registration of voters and GOP registration of voters as well. That's more for the general election than for this one, though. We did just get a handful of votes in here from Greenup County, only about 1.19% of the vote in here. So obviously nothing really too significant yet, but still 43 votes for Ed Gallrein. Thomas Massie has 35. This is going to be an interesting race to keep an eye out for. This is a race that Thomas Massie's been leading in the prediction markets for a while now. And then the last week or so, Ed Gallrein's really skyrocketed here. You can even see, we'll go to the 1 month just to show exactly here just how much it's fluctuated since then. Thomas Massie, right around May 12th, was at 70%. Gallrein was right around 30. Now on election day, Gallrein is at 60%. Obviously, fully expecting we're going to see this fluctuate throughout election night tonight as more results come in. Kentucky is going to be interesting. I kind of forgot Kentucky. Their poll closed at 6 p.m. So a little bit earlier than I thought. It was going to be around 7, but I forgot Kentucky starts a little bit early in this part of the district. But still, this is the early results thus far. Now 3.98% of the vote in, and we're just waiting to see ultimately how this all goes. Over here, we do have the Senate race as well. We can also pull that one up here. Let me see. I might go to a different tab for that one, but I can pull that one up as well. just to see how things are going. And Andy Barr is off to an early lead in this one over Daniel Cameron, 1.51%. Not really too much of a surprise here that the Barr is leading Cameron, but that's where things are right now. So yeah, we're just waiting for more results to come in. As they come in, we'll be talking about them. But it should be interesting to see how this goes. The polls have been very tight in this race heading into this Republican primary. Catch it while we have some time. I can pull this up. Did a Texas Senate video that's going to be coming out tomorrow, so look forward to that as well. As for the House elections, we'll go into Kentucky. We'll show the 4th district here. The polls have been very tight in this Republican primary in the last few days. See the big data poll from just yesterday that came out showed a 50-50 race between Gallrein and Massie. I believe this is with leaners. It was lean towards a given candidate. On the first ballot, or without leaners, was 44 to 43, 13% undecided. The Gray House poll from the day before showed Gallrein leading Massie by about 7 points. The big data poll from the day before that also showed it a 50-50 race. So very tight in the polling in the final few days as the election starts off thus far. Still only roughly about 4% of the vote in, but definitely seems to be off to a very competitive type of race. So yeah, just waiting to see ultimately how things go as the votes come in. Let's see. Okay, everything's looking pretty good. If there's any technical issues or any volume issues or anything, you write them all down in the chat. I do have the chat pulled up on another monitor, but hopefully everything should be all right. Okay, so still just waiting for more results to come in. We can pull up the Senate one and just analyze some of this while we're waiting for more votes. Andy Barr is still 1.52% of the vote in, leading by quite a lot. Fully expecting Andy Barr, who has the endorsement of Donald Trump, to win this primary. He's heavily favored at 99.9% to win, and he'll probably be the next Republican senator from the state of Kentucky. This district overall, at the congressional level, also is a very heavily Republican district. In terms of the election for the general election, we can pull up here the House results from 2024. I don't even believe Thomas Massie had an opponent. He won literally unopposed in 2024. In 2022, he beat his Democratic opponent by 34%. So even though President Trump and the Republicans are not polling too strongly right now, still expect a pretty strong Republican win in this district at the general election level. But as for the primary, remains to be seen how this is going to all end up going. Let's see here. As for the margins of victory thus far, most of the votes are coming out of Kenton County, which is up to 20% still. And it is roughly about a 400 vote lead or so for Ed Gallrein over Thomas Massie in this county and across the district right now. Gallrein's leading Massie roughly by right around that same 400 vote margins. That seems to be where most of them are coming from. Looks like 3.99% may have gotten a slight vote drop yet from Owen County, 0.81% of the vote in, so very little, barely nothing here, but still 13 votes for Ed Gallrein, 7 votes for Thomas Massie, still roughly right around a 400 vote lead for Gallrein over Massie thus far. It is also right around 6:30. It's 6:29 p.m. So the polls in this district have been closed for about half an hour now, and it's going a little slow, but we're starting to get some results that have come in. Pendleton County, I don't remember if this had votes or this was a new vote, but now there is 33 votes in for Ed Gallrein here and 16 votes for Thomas Massie here. In terms of the estimated votes remaining from these counties, Greenup County still has roughly about 6,000 votes to go. Kenton County still has another 16,000 votes to go. Lewis County has another 3,000 votes to go. And then Owen and Pendleton both have right around 2,000 or so, almost 3,000 votes to go in those areas. So in terms of the vote reported right now, Kenton County is leading in terms of roughly about 20% of the vote in, but there's still roughly 16,000 votes to go. It's one of the larger counties, I believe, in this district in terms of population. It's the second largest one. So we still have a long ways to go in terms of all the votes being in, but reported wise, that's where things currently sit. Yeah, just at this point, just waiting to see as more votes come in, and we'll talk about them as they do. Oh, I do see over here a pretty significant spike as these early votes have come in on the poly market, and I do believe on the Kalshi odds as well here. Let's go to, actually, we just got some more votes. So I'll do that in just one moment. Looks like we got some votes. I want to say is out of Mason County. Just got some votes in here, 16.21%. And it is, let's see, Ed Gallrein's at 196 votes, 167 for Thomas Massie. Relatively similar to what the overall district-wide result is, 53.99 to 46.01 in this district, or in this county, in this district, excuse me. And now the lead for Gallrein is still roughly around 400 votes exactly. Now it's gone up a little bit, 53.78 to 46.22. The thing I noticed on the side of the screen was the market odds here. Ed Gallrein, as the results have started to come in, certainly it seems here, let's show the last 6 hours here, it's really started to spike. The polls closed again at 6 p.m. Eastern time. And since these early results have come in, Thomas Massie's chances of winning honestly have gone down to about 10%. Ed Gallrein's up to about 87% chance to win. So the poly market odds, and I would imagine the odds for Kalshi as well, yep, 90 to 12 for Gallrein over Thomas Massie. The early results seem to be a good sign for Ed Gallrein over Thomas Massie thus far. And again, Ed Gallrein is the Republican, or is the President Trump-backed Republican candidate. Thomas Massie is the current Republican incumbent who President Trump is attempting to primary out. In terms of these estimated votes, we still have a ton of votes left, 430 or 4.37%. So still it's going to take a while for these results to come in. In terms of the margins of victory, Kenton County still seems to be the largest margin of victory for Ed Gallrein over Thomas Massie thus far at 19.76%. We're waiting for more votes there. Greenup County, 6.16%. A actually decent amount of changes, might have gone up slightly, roughly about a 15-point lead for Gallrein over Massie there. Massie's current only win in the county is Lewis County, where he's leading 63.2 to 36.7. Mason County, 16% of the vote in there, and it's still roughly about 54-46. And then Owen County, tiny, only about 20 votes have come in for Gallrein and Massie, but Gallrein's leading there in the early vote numbers. That's kind of the updated results we have thus far in the district. Again, I'll just do a quick sneak peek on the Senate race to see how it's looking in Kentucky. Still only 1.52% of the vote, but Andy Barr is leading over Daniel Cameron by a very significant amount, 61.1 to 27.74. Only 1.52% of the vote, so we have a long ways to go on that one as well. So I don't think much has changed, so we're still just waiting for more votes to come in. Again, it's going to be a little slow as we wait for the results to come in, but we'll go through it as the results come in here. We could also pull up the Democratic one as well. The Democratic Senate race is going on between Charles Booker and Amy McGrath, and I'll pull that up on this slide as well. This has the potential to be competitive. McGrath, with only, again, under 1% of the vote in, is currently leading over Charles Booker, 53.2 to 32.7. So we'll take a look at this, the Senate race and the House race, as these results come in. Okay, let's see here. Still nothing too big for the results. As for the final polling, I showed the Wikipedia page as well, but they do have it updated as well on here on Decision Desk. Ed Gallrein versus Thomas Massie, the final poll, 44.1 to 43.3. Other option, 12.7. And the poll from the day before, Gray House, 51 to 44. Okay, still 4.37%. Market odds haven't changed too much, still 88 to 14. It's gone down about 2% for Ed Gallrein, so not really too much of a movement there, but still, Gallrein seems to be the overwhelming favorite right now. Kalshi, pretty similar. The voter turnout margins here above 60,000 at 99, 98, 97, above 70,000. Not really too important in terms of what we're covering here. As for the margin of victory, Gallrein in between 5 to 10 is roughly about 32%. Gallrein 10 to 15, 25%. Gallrein 15 to 20, 13. Thomas Massie 0 to 5 is at 4% now. So definitely the early results seem to be giving a lot of indicators to people that are putting their money on the line. They think Ed Gallrein's winning this race. It does seem that Gallrein's off to an early lead right now, but I'm still certainly going to wait for more votes to come in before making any definitive calls or statements. But definitely early on, but Ed Gallrein seems to be the leading candidate as of right now. I get some water while we're waiting for more results to come in. Okay. Thank you, everyone, also for taking time to hop in on the stream and watch the results live with me. I really appreciate you joining in. And we already had over 100 people since we started the stream not too long ago. So certainly having a ton of people show up for this, I really appreciate it. Okay, so I'll just do a quick little hover on some of these counties that we've had results come in here. Owen County still the same at 6535. We have Pendleton County 1.69% still 67.3, 32.6 in Pendleton. Kenton County, the largest or second largest county in this district, still holding at roughly 54.7 to 45.3 for Gallrein over Massie. Mason County, 16.2%, tinier in population, but Gallrein's leading here roughly 54 to 46. Thomas Massie's only win on the map right now is Lewis County, 11.4% of the vote in there. And Massie has 63.26 or 63.3 to 36.7 for Gallrein. Lewis County, or I'm sorry, Greenup County next to Lewis County, roughly 57.3 to 42.7 for Gallrein over Massie. That's where things currently stand throughout the congressional district. In terms of the counties that are in here, we have a lot across this district. In terms of overall estimated votes remaining, the largest county is Boone County. Boone County is not reported any votes yet, but they have the largest votes left for grabs at 22,931 still remaining. They have a total registration of Democrats, Republicans, Independents of roughly about 103,000. Kenton County is larger overall by total registration, but with 19.76% of the vote in, they now have less votes to come in than Boone, but they have still 16,000 votes remaining there, so a significant amount. Campbell County, Oldham, and Shelby also are all above 10,000 estimated votes remaining for this Republican primary, so certainly we have a long ways to go here. Yeah, in terms of overall total registration, Kenton County, Boone, and Campbell, Oldham, and Shelby are all the largest by that metric as well. We looks like got a little more vote now, 4.41% of the vote. Don't believe. I think it might have just been a little more vote in one of the counties here. It doesn't say, I don't think, which county specifically it came from. So we'll have to just see. It might have been a slight. It's not in Kenton County. I don't think it's in Pendleton or Owen County. Mason County looks the same. Lewis County also, I believe, looks the same. Greenup County, everything might have changed a little bit. This might have been where the vote came from. 57.32 now for Gallrein. Massie's at 172, 42.68% there. I don't believe votes. No, okay, it doesn't say exactly where it just came from. So we're still just waiting now for the vote percentage, and we'll wait for these to come in. We don't have really too much to compare it to, considering this is a primary election against Thomas Massie where he didn't have any troubles in 2024. So we're kind of just going on the fly here and seeing the overall vote margins throughout the entire district. There's still a ton of votes up for grabs left to go here. I mean, we're still roughly, like still tens of thousands, not even over 100,000 votes left to go. So we'll have to wait and see. Pepperjack said, who's winning? Right now, Ed Gallrein is leading the Trump-backed challenger, 2,882 votes to 2,496 for Thomas Massie. That's where things currently stand right now. Still only 4.41% of the vote in, though, so we have a long ways to go before we'll know definitively who is winning. But right now, Gallrein is leading over Massie based on the early results that we have. As for some of the other races going on here, the Democratic Senate primary, Amy McGrath, Charles Booker had a little bit more vote update. McGrath is now leading 49.95 to Booker's 34.93. McGrath is the green color across the state, including from Kenton County and Pendleton County. Charles Booker is going to be the blue on the map here. On the Republican Senate side as well, 1.99%. Andy Barr continues to have a large lead over Daniel Cameron as of right now. Certainly seems like he's probably going to end up winning that primary. 4.72% of the vote in. Looks like we had a few more votes come in on the map here. It's not from Kenton County or Pendleton, I don't believe, or Owen County. Mason County's up to 16.21. That could have been it. Lewis County still remains the same, and Greenup County got some more votes in. So a lot of them seem to come in from Greenup County, now 11.92%. We also got some more votes out of Spencer County, only roughly about 1%, but still Gallrein's getting 30 votes here. Massie's getting 15. These updated numbers, so we've gone up right about half percentage point or so up to 4.75%. Ed Gallrein's lead continues, 3,140 votes. Massie's at 2,659, roughly about 54.15% for Gallrein, and Massie's at 45.85%. So it seems like Gallrein's lead may have gone up a little bit. It was roughly about 400 votes. It's relatively similar. Maybe it's gone up like 50 votes or so as these new numbers have come in, but Gallrein's still leading by a similar margin in the district thus far. What site am I using? First of all, good coverage. Thank you. I appreciate it. Site I'm using Decision Desk HQ. On the last live stream I did, I tried to get the New York Times one, but I just didn't. My computer's having trouble like live streaming and using it at the same time. So I tried using Decision Desk HQ halfway through last time. It worked out really well, so I'm using that one again. And I like the way it looks. I like the way it kind of interfaces with the county results. So Decision Desk HQ, what I've used so far, highly recommend it. Works really well here. Who do I want to win? I don't really have an opinion on it, to be honest. I'm kind of just like watching it neutrally. I'm not trying to give a preference one way or the other between Gallrein or Massie. Just I would tell you what, I would like the results to come in and come in relatively quickly so we can talk about it in real time and not have to wait too much. That is my very political answer to that question. We are at, let's see, roughly about 5,800, 5,799 total votes in this county. In terms of the breakdown, I haven't used this yet. I'm interested to see what this does. Absentee mail. Okay, so it tells you where the votes came from. Roughly about absentee mail votes. 2,223 from Ed Gallrein, 1,841 from Thomas Massie. That's interesting. I didn't even know that was an option on here, the breakdown thing. I haven't clicked it. I'm just afraid to see what it would do. Yeah, okay, so all the votes seem to be absentee mail thus far. So we haven't gotten the election day vote yet, so that's interesting. Once the election day vote comes in, it'll be interesting to see. I do remember looking at the polling and some of the crosstabs in the polling for Gallrein versus Massie in the final few polls, and it was something like voters 45 and older are very pro Ed Gallrein based on the polling data, and then Thomas Massie voters are like 45 and under, especially voters more closer to my age, like in between like 18 to like 35, especially were polling very strongly for Thomas Massie. So it'll be interesting to see as the results come in, how things ultimately shake up, and if the polls end up being kind of spot on or off a little bit, always fun to see. 4.93% of the vote in. Looks like we've got a few more votes here. The margins district-wide have changed a little bit, but not too significantly. Gallrein's now at 54 point... Oh, we got a few more votes now, 5.16%. Now 54.48% for Gallrein, 45.52. So now it's about 0.9% of a lead here. In terms of overall votes, we're looking at roughly about a 600 or so, a little bit under vote lead for Gallrein over Thomas Massie across the district. Just to give you a look at some of these districts here, Spencer County is unchanged, still 30 to 15 votes for Gallrein versus Massie. Owen County, 9.35% of the vote in, so we got some more votes out of Owen County. Gallrein's at 138 votes, Massie's at 92, so 60-40 lead there. In Kenton County, second largest population county in this district, still remains unchanged, 54.7 to 45.3. Pendleton County, still 1.69% of the vote in, 33 to 16 for the total votes. Gallrein leading over Massie there. Bracken County now 22.14% of the vote in, so I believe we have some more votes that have come in out of Bracken County, and it is Gallrein leading 167 to 123, so a large lead for Gallrein there. Mason County, 16.21% of the vote in this county, 196 votes for Gallrein, 167 for Massie, 53.99 to 46.01. Thomas Massie in Lewis County, still the only county he's currently leading right now, 63.26% to 36.74. And we also have Carter County with now roughly about, we got more votes out of, it's not Carter County, it is Greenup County. I think the cursor was a little delayed there. Greenup County, Gallrein now leading 59.02 to 40.98, 553 votes to 384. That's weird. I think it kind of like glitched for a second there or something. But so yeah, now 5.29% of the vote in district-wide. 6,457 votes are in this district, and Ed Gallrein continues to lead by roughly about 9 points across the district. In overall votes, it's roughly about a 600 vote lead for Ed Gallrein. So since I started the stream, Gallrein was leading by about 400 votes. It's now increased to about 600 votes as more results have come in. Looks like we got a little bit more votes out of Gallatin County, 13.66% of the vote in there. Definitely a smaller county by population. 90 votes have come in for Ed Gallrein. 54 votes have come in for Thomas Massie. So still, so far, it seems every county that's come in, except for Lewis County, has been going for Ed Gallrein. So the odds, though, are interesting. They have shifted a little bit down from the 89% for Gallrein down to 84.8. On Polymarket, Calci's still at 88% for Ed Gallrein. So the early results, they seem to be going good for Ed Gallrein, but it's going to be interesting to see as more votes come in how it ultimately all shakes out here. Oop, I just had my mic by accident. Here we go. Thanks for covering. You're welcome. You're welcome. Absolutely. Thank you for watching. Liked and sub. Oh, really? Oh, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate you hitting like and subscribe. And everyone else for watching, make sure to like and subscribe as well. I really, really appreciate that. Oh, I forgot to make a poll. I'll make a poll in the chat 1 second for who you think's going to win, Massie or Ed Gallrein. But first, we just got some more votes that have come in at 6.1%, and it actually moved the percentages across the district a pretty significant amount. Now 7,445 votes, and the lead is cut down to roughly about 300 votes for Ed Gallrein over Thomas Massie, 3,865 to 3,580. Overall, Gallrein's leading 51.91 to 48.09. So definitely whatever votes that came in, it was a small amount, but it seems to, in terms of percentages, but it was a big enough amount to shift this race towards Thomas Massie at least a little bit. And this is where it came from. It came out of Lewis County, Massie's only county win thus far. But it went from, I think, around like 13 or so percent up to 33.86. Massie now has 867 votes in this county and 407 for Gallrein there. The only little bit of bad news for Thomas Massie thus far is that Kenton County, the second largest in the state, is still Gallrein 9.4. Boone County, which I do believe, let's find it actually, Boone County is right next to it, is the largest in terms of overall estimated votes remaining. So both Gallrein and Massie are going to need that one if they want to win this district in all likelihood. But the second largest county going for Gallrein is probably not good news for Massie. Lewis County, in terms of overall votes here, is roughly about 1,274 total votes. They do have another 2,488 remaining. Greenup County looks like it got some more votes as well. 1,300 votes are now in Greenup. 19.89%, 60.15, 39.85 there. So Gallrein's lead has expanded a little bit. Still, though, roughly around a 300 vote lead for Gallrein over Massie district wide. While I'm doing this, let me also just make this poll now before I forget. Okay, so let's go start a poll. Okay. Who do you think will win? Sorry, just 1 second. GOP primary. We're going to put Massie first because he is the incumbent, and we'll put the star for him, and then we'll put Ed Gallrein there as well. Okay, so the poll should be showing up in the chat now. So if you want to fill that out, you can. Still a fun little way to interact with the video. If you don't, obviously you don't have to, but if you want to, feel free. Okay, all right, getting some early votes here. Let's see what we got. Okay, Ed Gallrein's up 80 to 20% early on thus far. Certainly makes sense, certainly agree. Alex asked what site. This is Decision Desk HQ, is where I'm getting the results in from thus far as the results have come in. And yeah, so 6.4%. Certainly we're getting some results in rather quickly in the last few minutes or so. In the last 15 minutes, I think the result speed has certainly been speeding up. In terms of the breakdown, I actually like this. They show the percentages absentee ballot or absentee by mail, 54.7 for Ed Gallrein, 45.3 Thomas Massie. Looks like we did get a little more voted. I think I saw a little update in the map. Yep, we're at 9.1%, so a very significant amount of vote has come in here. Whenever a vote comes in, I'm like, is it Kenton County? Is the second largest one? But it looks like it's from neighboring in Bracken County. Bracken County, 22.14% of the vote came in, and it's 57.6 now for Ed Gallrein. Mass is at 42.4. Mason County is at 16.21. I don't think that one's changed much. Lewis County still remains unchanged. We did just get more vote as well. Now 10.39%. So we're officially past 10% of the vote in this district. Greenup County is still at 19.89, but Gallrein is gaining some votes there. Lewis County, 33.86%. We did get some significant vote here out of Mason County. This was the big vote dump. Oh, wow, 79.06% of the vote estimated in this county. So a lot of vote came in for Mason County. Thomas Massie's actually narrowly pulled ahead in this county now at 909 votes to 862. So a very significant amount of vote came in out of Mason County. Thomas Massie now is his second win on the district map overall out of this county. Also in Robertson County, looks like we got some vote out of there. We got almost all the vote actually out of Robertson County, 95% of the vote in here. Let's see. Yeah, so only 228 votes. So it's a smaller county by population, but nearly all the vote is in, roughly about 12 votes estimated to come in there. But a big win for Ed Gallrein, 137 to 91 by population, about a 20-point percentage wise win. Overall raw votes, roughly about a 40 vote separating difference there. So district-wide, how it is right now, Gallrein's at 52.03%, Massey's at 47.97, roughly about a 500 vote separation between Gallrein and Massie across the district at 10% of the vote in thus far. So again, the votes do seem to be coming in relatively quickly. The margins narrowed up a little bit. It's gone back and forth between like a 400 vote lead for Gallrein up to like a 700 vote lead. Now it's back down to around 500. So it seems to be fluctuating a bit as more votes have come in. Still, we're only at roughly about 10% of the vote in across the district. So it's going to be a little bit before we have a definitive answer, I think, on how this is looking. But with 95% in Robertson County and 79% in Mason County. Mason County, I think, is certainly good news for Thomas Massie that it's at 79% and he's able to win it. Because for a while, it looked like Lewis County was the only county that he was winning. And it's certainly, you're not going to win if you're only winning one county across the entire district, especially if you're the incumbent. So winning Mason is big. It is roughly an even split at 51.3 to 48.67. I just said the thing. Uh, but with 1,771 votes here and only about 469 votes remaining, not a ton of vote left to go there, but still enough probably to give a little bit of a boost to Thomas Massie. Looks like we did just get some more votes in as well. 11.82% of the vote in now. I think it came from Oldham County, it looks like. And this county came in for Ed Gallrein over Thomas Massie, 52.26% to 47.74. Overall vote totals here, 1,664 for Ed Gallrein, 1,520 for Thomas Massie. So right around 120 votes or so, 140 votes separating Gallrein and Massie. So Gallrein expands his lead a little bit in Oldham County across the district now. Gallrein's lead over Thomas Massie has grown to roughly about 600 votes. So again, it seems to keep like fluctuating as more votes come in between how much Gallrein or Massie is leading. So another 600 vote lead for Gallrein there. Let's see. DDHQ is the site. Yeah, yes, it is. It is Decision Desk HQ. Are you confident Barr will win the Senate primary? I would say, yeah, I would say so. I mean, the early results thus far, 4.2% in. Barr continues to have a solid lead over Daniel Cameron. I think with the endorsement of President Trump and Nate Morris dropping out of the race, we're probably going to see Andy Barr win here by a solid amount. So yeah, I would say Andy Barr is probably favored here. We'll check the Democratic one too while we're looking here. McGrath 47.13, Charles Booker 37.72. So we'll have to wait for more results to come in, especially waiting for results out of Lexington and Louisville before any definitive things there because they're very large in population, but we'll have to wait and see as those come in. So can you do the breakdown? Can you do the breakdown feature for Kentucky 4, please? Sure. Breakdown feature. This is what it shows is roughly 2,223 absentee votes for Ed Gallrein, 1,841. It doesn't I don't think it shows any more than that. It just shows these numbers, but this is what it looks like for percentage, and this is what it looks like for the number of total votes as well. Obviously, this is, I think, my second or third time using Decision Desk HQ, so if there's any features or anything I'm missing you want me to try out, I can certainly look at doing that, but that's what the breakdown feature looks like. As for the results now, 12.28% of the votes, so it looks like we've got a few more votes that have come in. Nelson County may have been where they came from. I can't remember if those were there or not before. Henry County looks like a new one. 15 votes for Ed Gallrein, 6 votes for Thomas Massie, 71.43. In terms of the estimated vote remaining here, still we have no votes in yet out of Boone County. Kenton County is up to 28.26%, so it looks like got some more votes out of this county. It was, I think, around 19%. Now it's at 28. And it's now 3,147 votes for Ed Gallrein. Thomas Massie's at 2,680 or 2,665, 54.15 to 45.85. So the second largest in the state, the second largest county in this district, going for Gallrein by 8.3 is probably not a result Massie wants to see. It did go down slightly, about 0.7% from a 9-point win, I believe, for Gallrein down to a 8.3. So a little bit movement in Massie's direction, but still a solid lead for Gallrein there. Let's see. Oh, the poll's actually very interesting here. Who do you think will win the Kentucky 4th District GOP primary? Ed Gallrein's at 53%. Thomas Massie's at 47%. So very, very close. Very evenly split throughout the poll in the chat for who you think is going to win. Interesting. Okay. So it's 52.8 across the district to 47.2 for Gallrein over Massie. Now it's roughly about a 900 vote lead for Gallrein over Massie. Still, we have a long ways to go. We have like 88% of the vote to go in this district. In terms of the market odds, Polymarket now has Gallrein favored at roughly around 87.8% to win. Kalshi's at 83% to win. So both of those markets are very heavily favored in Ed Gallrein's direction. But again, 12.47% will count the votes. We'll see how it comes in. In terms of overall population, Oldham's up to 23.78. I'm just going to go through every county now and give a quick little checkup at how they're all looking. Nelson County, 1.13% in. Gallrein's leading here, 31 votes to 11, so a solid lead. In Oldham County, Gallrein's leading Thomas Massie here by a close amount, 52.3 to 47.7, 1,664 to 1,520. Overall, a difference of like 140 votes, so very close in that one. Called it for Ed at 2:30 p.m. Okay, Henry County, 1.48%, 32 votes for Gallrein, 14%, or 14 votes for Massie, 69.6 to 30.43. Owen County, 9.35% of the vote in, 60-40 for Gallrein over Massie. Gallatin County is 13.66% of the vote in, 90 votes for Gallrein, 54 for Massie, 62.5 to 37.5, just at Owen. Grant County, 64.63 to 34 or 35.37, 349 to 191. In Kenton County, 28.26% of the vote in here. In Gallrein's leading 54.15 to 45.85. Looks like we just got a little more vote in as well at 12.62% of the vote. Let's see if it came from any of the counties we've already done. It doesn't look like it so far. Might be one of the counties we haven't gone through yet in terms of the overall votes that are coming in. Yes, Barr's pulling out of the water, no contest. Yeah, it looks like that way for the Senate race. It looks like Andy Barr is going to win that one probably as more votes come in. We got a little more vote coming in as well, 13.7% of the vote in now. Ed Gallrein's up 53.7 to 46.3. Overall vote totals here, it's definitely expanded the margins a bit here for Gallrein over Massie, 8,000 or even more vote now, 13.99%, 9,180 to 7,883 here. So now it's over in 1,000 vote lead for Ed Gallrein. I think it's roughly, quick math here, about 1,200 votes or so, give or take a few hundred, about 1,200 vote lead for Gallrein over Massie. So more voters come in, it seems, for Ed Gallrein over Thomas Massie across the district. Let's see. Kenton County still remains unchanged. Pendleton County remains unchanged. Grant County, Owen County, Gallatin County had to be a pretty decently amount. Yes, it was. It was from Mason County, as they're now up to 90% of the vote in. And it's gotten very close in Mason County, which it was going for Ed Gallrein. Thomas Massie took the lead by around, I think, 100 votes or so it was. Now it's come down certainly a bit. Massie's leading here by roughly about 33 votes in this county, 50.81% to 49.19. So 33 vote difference between Massie and Gallrein in this county. In terms of, we're going to look at estimated vote remaining for Robertson County, only roughly about 12 votes remaining. Or that was Robertson. I'm sorry, looking for Mason County. Here it is. 205 votes remaining in this county. 2,035 votes are in. 205 still to go. 90.85% of the vote in that county now in. That's very significant. Lewis County, still one of two wins for Thomas Massie thus far, is currently at 33.86%. Massie's still leading here by a large amount. Greenup County is 25.82% of the vote. Oops, didn't mean to do that. I meant to scroll up here. Greenup County is at 61.55, 38.45 with 25.82% of the vote in. Okay, that's where things are right now. That may be Massie's County. Oh, that's a good point. That could be where Thomas Massie lives or where he's from. That is a good point. Do you make any money from YouTube? I do, not a ton, but I do. Not gonna go into specifics too much on that stuff. That's more, I would say, stuff I want to keep private, but a little bit, yeah. 13.99% in across the district. 9,180 votes still for Ed Gallrein. Thomas Massie, 7,883. Okay, so in terms of the margin map, and we can look at the breakdown map too. 4.37% here said, I think it's from the absentee. I don't know if it's working. It's only showing the absentee vote. I don't know if it's supposed to show something else or not, but we can look at the margin of victory map as well here. We're seeing some very strong margin of victories for Ed Gallrein out of Kenton County, roughly about a 9-point lead there. Greenup County, what's that, about 23% lead for Gallrein over Massie there. Spencer County and Nelson County is a strong lead, though not a ton of votes. But here is roughly about a 30% lead out of Spencer County. And those votes will come in. Massie's largest win right now is Lewis County, roughly about a little bit under 40 points, or like a 37% lead out of Lewis County on that one. So again, some results are coming in just past 7 p.m. Eastern time on the East Coast. So we got some more results coming in out of this district, roughly about 14% in. When Trump says you gotta go, you gotta go. It seems like it thus far. Ed Gallrein certainly leading in this race, favored to win 84% on the Polymarket and Kalshi odds. So definitely seems like Trump's getting his wish thus far in this Republican primary. Still, obviously, only 14% of the vote in, but definitely seems to be going in that direction right now. Yes, Trump posted that last minute message. Yes, he did. He did post that last minute message going after Thomas Massie. 53.8 to 46.2, maybe a handful more votes here. Just do a quick check-in on the Senate primaries as well. Amy McGrath now 4.21%, 46.5 to 36.62. So each time I check in, this race seems to be narrowing. Charles Booker still the odds-on favorite to win, though McGrath leads in the early vote, but it's narrowed up each time that I've checked it. As for the Republican Senate race, Andy Barr's at 53.67. I said the thing again. Daniel Cameron's at 28.11 with 6.3% of the vote in. So definitely looks like Andy Barr is leading. The Republican one will probably end up winning that. The Democratic one is still, I would say, more undecided. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. It is also 7 p.m. I do believe the Georgia one should be starting relatively soon, so I might pull that up on the slide next to it just so I can have that when the results do start coming in. Oop. Okay, that's weird. Decision, desk HQ. Okay. Oh, it didn't log. Okay. All right. So we're not going to be able to do that just because it's being wonky, but I am signed in on this one. This one will be fine. The Georgia one might have to reset the thing if there's an issue, but that's okay. Let's see here. Am I ready to call the Senate primary for Barr? I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it just because the amount of votes are so low. Like it's only 5.62%. But Barr is leading 61.2 to 31.19, roughly about a 10,000 vote lead. Like, I mean, there's definitely enough votes just because the overall votes left out there for this margin to be made up. Like, Jefferson County alone could probably do it. So I wouldn't call it just because I'd want more votes to come in. But like 95% sure Andy Barr is going to win this primary. Which, if he doesn't end up doing it, it would look very foolish and that'd be very funny if I got that wrong. But I do think Andy Barr will probably end up winning this. The Democratic one, definitely way too early to make any call on that. For the House District in the 4th, 14.41% of the vote in here. Gallrein's now up to 53.89%. Massey's at 46.11. So we got a little more vote in, about half a percentage point more vote has come in here. It's roughly about a 1,300 vote lead for Gallrein over Thomas Massie thus far. In terms of the vote reported, Robertson County still at 95, Mason County still at 90.85. So no counties are close to being done yet besides Robertson and Mason County. So we're still waiting for more of those votes to come in. Still waiting for votes out of Boone County as well, the largest county in this district, to come in. And once those come in, we'll have a pretty clear idea of how things are looking. Let me check the chat here. Thomas Massey's a Democrat. Barr has it. Same deal. Trump sealed it. I definitely do agree that I think Barr is going to win it, and Trump's endorsement certainly will probably push him over the top, no doubt. I'm sure George Washington got at least one vote boost because of his name. Is there someone George Washington in the primary? I didn't even know that. That's funny. Oh, speak of the devil here out of Boone County. So Boone County, as I've been talking throughout the live stream, is the largest by population, I do believe, tonight that we're going to see in this district. We have 7,769 votes that have come in out of Boone County, which is right here. And they've come in very strongly for Ed Gallrein, coming in at 57.25%. For Gallrein, 4,448 votes. Thomas Massey's at 3,321 at 42.75%. So this is roughly about a 1,200 vote lead out of Boone County for Ed Gallrein over Thomas Massie. And that got the overall district-wide vote from 14% up to about 20.78%. So a very significant amount has jumped up for Ed Gallrein over Thomas Massie across the district. Now, overall across the district, Gallrein's at 13,923. Massie's at 11,400. Oh, updated again. Now at 21.72%. So more vote has come in. I don't believe it's out of Kenton County. I don't think so, but it came from other counties across the district here. Gallrein's now at 14,579. Massie's at 11,924. So it's just about shy of a 3,000 vote lead for Gallrein over Massie. So certainly, as more results have come in, it seems Ed Gallrein's lead has gotten larger than when we were first starting out. It was roughly about 500 votes or so, 600 votes when we first started. Now Gallrein's just a little bit under 3,000 vote lead here, roughly. What's that, about 2,600 vote or so difference now between Gallrein and Massie as more votes have come in here. Let's see, check the chat. Yes, Daniel will pull votes in Jefferson. Good point, Stronghold. Boone got some on my side. Yep, just came in. Kenton is more people living there than Boone. Yeah, it does. It does, and you see the overall total voter registration. Kenton County does have more total registration votes than Boone does, but based on this Republican primary, it's still roughly 19,000 votes out of Kenton County, and we still have roughly 22,000 out of Boone. So for this specific primary, for some reason, there is more votes remaining out of Boone County than Kenton County. That's what the Decision Desk HQ site says, so that's where I'm getting that number from. Bobby said, holy crap, Massey's falling behind almost 10%. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, you're right. Oh, geez, okay. I look away for 1 second and vote comes in. 23.87%. Gallrein's now at 55.2%. Wow. 44.78% for Thomas Massie. Now it's literally exactly right around a 3,000 vote lead for Gallrein over Massie. 16,085 votes, 13,042 for Thomas Massie. So certainly as more votes have come in, it's looking a lot better, I would say, for Ed Gallrein. It's certainly off to a very strong lead here. A large reason being Pendleton County. Let's find Pendleton here, right here. It's had about 92.15% of the vote come in here. That's roughly about 2,677 votes. And they've come in strongly for Ed Gallrein, 1,543. For Gallrein, Massie getting 1,134. So just in that last vote drop here, that's roughly about a 400 vote gain out of Pendleton County. Looks like more votes have come in out of Lewis County, though, for Thomas Massie, now up to 58.37% of the vote. Massie's now at 61.7%. Gallrein's at 38.3%. So overall here, a lead of like 500 votes for Massie over Gallrein. This is now one of two counties still. Mason County, 90.85%, a very narrow lead for Thomas Massie there, but one of two counties going for Massie. In terms of the overall margin here, we can see the largest margin thus far appears to be Boone County. That at 33.88% is at 57.25 for Gallrein. Massie is at 42.75. So overall vote totals here, roughly about a 1,100 vote lead out of Boone County alone for Gallrein over Massie, and right around a 15% lead as well. So as the votes have come in out of Boone County, that's certainly a very big number to come in for Ed Gallrein in this race, and certainly is leading by a strong amount right now. Now up to 24.63% of the vote in, so nearly a fourth of the vote is in this district, and Ed Gallrein's leading over Thomas Massie by a very significant amount, roughly about almost 10 points, nearly 54.97 to 45.03. And as these numbers have come in, you can see here on the left, the polymarket odds here, now 94.8% chance for Ed Gallrein to win. Kalshi even higher at 97.3. So these results certainly are looking good for Ed Gallrein over Thomas Massie as of this very moment. Boone is just more Republican, though. Yeah, that's probably what it is. There's just more voters there for that reason, like you said here. Pop the popcorn. Good turnout for the primary. Yeah, there seems to be a ton of votes in this primary. Over 30,000 votes just at 24.63%. So what's that? Tracking around 120,000 votes for a House primary? Like crazy. It is also crazy, you know, in the video I did 2 days ago, it's the most expensive House primary in the history of the United States. Like the amount of money spent in this primary, I don't want to get the number incorrect. It was something like, it was over 100 million, I'm pretty sure. And totally fact check me if I'm wrong on that. It was a crazy amount of money in this, just one singular House primary. But like one of the commenters said, President Trump really wanted Thomas Massie gone. A lot of probably anti-Trump Republicans really wanted Massie to stay in there. And it became a really competitive race between the two. And right now, Ed Gallrein's leading 54.97. Massie's at 45.03. So as more vote comes in, things will certainly change because it's roughly about a 3,000 vote lead, which is obviously not insurmountable given the amount of vote that's left out there. But when you look at the counties that have come in and the percentages that Ed Gallrein has led in nearly all of them but two, including Lewis County, which the jury's out if Thomas Massie lives there based on the amount of votes he's getting. He might. It looks like Ed Gallrein's probably going to hold on and win here, just due to the amount of percentages he's getting at this current point in time. Sort of shades of my first live stream I did for the governor elections in New Jersey and Virginia. As more vote came in, I was looking, are these margins going to shift at all, or are they coming in pretty consistently? As for this race, it seems either Ed Gallrein's margins are getting the same, if not stronger in a lot of these places. Like even Mason County, which Massie's now leading, he's only leading by 33 votes here. It's narrowing up there. Lewis County is still strongly for Thomas Massie, but the rest of these counties are all still coming in very strongly for Ed Gallrein. So it looks like Ed Gallrein has the advantage in the lead right now. Is it nearing a point where we can call it? If Massie doesn't win corruption, is it nearing a point we can call it? It's tough because I'm always like, for me, I'm always super cautious when I call because I usually like to get most of the votes in just because there is a lot of votes still outstanding. Like 30,000 out of roughly 120,000 votes are in. So there's still plenty of votes left out there that if a big dump came in for Thomas Massie could be enough for him to win. But the margins in which they're coming in, like Henry County, we got some more votes as well for Gallrein over Massie. The margins in which are looking very strong for Ed Gallrein. If they hold, no doubt Gallrein's going to win. So I would just say short to answer your question, I probably wouldn't call it just because I'm waiting for more votes to come in and being totally sure about it. But what we've seen thus far seems to be Ed Gallrein at the very least is going to win this district by a pretty considerable amount. The only way Thomas Massie, I think, wins at this point is if we see two of the larger counties like Boone, Kenton, Campbell, or Shelby start having votes come in, and maybe Oldham County as well, because they still have 10,000 votes left. You're going to need Thomas Massie to start winning a lot of these vote dumps and start getting a lot of percentages that he's really just not getting on the current map. So right now, I would say Ed Gallrein's favored to win. The Massie campaign, I'm sure, is not too thrilled with the results that have come in thus far, and they need a lot of changes to happen if they're going to hold on and win this race. So I would say Ed Gallrein's the leader and probably going to win right now. Lewis County is Massie's home county. Okay. So that certainly makes a lot more sense why he's only leading Mason by like very little amount, and then he's winning Lewis by that large amount. Okay, so that makes sense. Well, that's a silver lining for Thomas Massie. If he's losing across the district, at least he's winning his home county. I mean, it could be worse. He could be losing across the district and losing his home county. So at least he has that. Massie deserves to lose 12-year max term. As for the poll in the chat here between Massie and Ed Gallrein, it's split exactly 50-50 for 111 votes between who you think is going to win, Massie or Gallrein. So very interesting how evenly split it is. Looks like we got a little bit more vote. 25.78% of the vote in. Gallrein's now at 54.66%. Massie's at 45.34%. So roughly about, what's that, a 9.3% lead for Ed Gallrein across the district over Thomas Massie. The odds here, yeah, very bullish on Ed Gallrein's chances now. 98.4% on Polymarket, 97.1% on Kalshi. Definitely, I think right now, based on the numbers that we've gotten, certainly looks like Ed Gallrein's going to hold on and win. But again, we're going to be careful. We're going to count the votes. We're going to wait for everything to come in. But it definitely looks like Ed Gallrein is going to win this primary. Nelson County still 1.13% of the vote in, 31-11 in terms of overall votes. Oldham County, one of the larger population ones in this district, overall 55,000 votes in total registration among Democrats and Republicans in this county. Here, Ed Gallrein with only about 23 to 24% of the vote in. Gallrein's leading over Massie here by about 140 votes or so, 1,664, 1,520. So yeah, roughly about a 140 vote lead there. Henry County, roughly about a 200 vote lead, 230 vote lead for Gallrein over Massie there, a 15% margin. Owen County, smaller in population, but still a pretty large lead by percentage for Gallrein over Massie, 60-40. Gallatin County, also small in terms of overall votes, but it's going big for Gallrein, 62.5, 37.5. Looks like we got a little bit more vote as well, up to 26%. Got some votes out of Carroll County, 27.23%. Gallrein's at 169 votes. Massie's at 115. So another, 50 votes or so, another 54 votes net gain for Ed Gallrein over Thomas Massie in this district. Now 54.67. I said 67 again. This is going to happen a lot throughout the night. I can't help it. 54.67 for Ed Gallrein, 45.33 for Thomas Massie. Now also got some more votes across the district, across these counties as well. It might have been from, no, Henry County, we just covered. Those percentages don't look any different. Carroll's at 27.23%. Gallatin County still 13.66%. Grant County 13.39%. Pendleton County 92.15%. Pendleton may have had a little bit more come in. No, 90.85, 92.15. Okay, no, so it's still relatively unchanged in Pendleton County. Bracken County, 22.14%. Kenton County still 28.26% there with a 9% lead or so for Gallrein. So we're certainly waiting for more votes out of Kenton County. Boone County had a big vote drop at 33.88%, but still certainly we are waiting for more votes out of Boone County as well. So I had to reposition myself there, sorry. Mason County still 90.85%. In Lewis County, 76.16% of the vote in here. So this is more vote that has come in for Thomas Massie. He's up to 62.97, 37.03. Now 76% of the vote in here. So in Lewis County, 2,865 votes, still 897 votes left to go. But in the only county that Massie's currently winning by a large amount, over 3/4 of the vote now in Lewis County. It's not great news for Massie that he's winning it by about 800 votes when he's losing across the district by about 3,000. So Massie really needs these next vote dumps to start kind of going differently if he's going to have any chance of coming back here. Though, based on the results thus far, does not look too great for Thomas Massie as of right now. Carter County, 28% in or so, about a 20 vote lead for Ed Gallrein. Greenup County, roughly about 50% of the vote in, a 600 vote lead for Ed Gallrein in this district, 59.7 to 40.26. Those are the updated county numbers here. Let's see, we got some more chats here since I last checked over here. Gallrein. What are your thoughts on a 12-year max term so they fight for what they believe in and not for their own pockets? Actually, I never thought about that 12-year max term. Oh, are you saying? Oh, I understand. Never mind. Never mind. You're talking about term limits for the house. Okay. I don't know why that didn't click with me. I think I'm too trying to multitask for some reason. I'm having a hard time focusing on. 12-year max term. I don't think term limits are bad. I don't think that'd be a bad thing to try. I just think there's so much money involved in like elections and in politics and stuff. Like I'm not even sure term limits would be enough to cut back on the own pockets and the corruption stuff. I'm not really sure really how best to go about doing that because there's so much money involved. But I'm open to ideas, to suggestions. Crazy how being against, I don't want to say that because I don't know if YouTube is going to demonetize me for saying that, but gets you ousted in the Republican Party. If Massie loses, this will be insane. You have too many ads compared to the other sites. Oh, do I have ads? Oh, sorry. Uh, Maybe I'll try and I can't do that because I'm mid live stream, but I can go through the settings before my next live stream, try and correct that. Sorry, I don't know. I don't know why there's so many going off on this. Uh, Claim that Massie already having Cassie alive 2 days ago. Outlaw PAX Citizens United, that's a Supreme Court case. Nobody seriously wants Massie, do they? Well, based on the results thus far, it looks like we got a little bit more vote as well, 27.73. Gallrein's at 18,638. Thomas Massie's at 15,190. So now it's roughly about a 3,500 vote lead for Gallrein over Massie in this district. Still, we have only 2% of the vote since the last big check-in has come in this race. So we still have a long ways to go. I also want to say, also thank you everyone for watching. Since I started the stream, over 4,000 people have tuned in on the stream right now, which for my channel is absolutely massive. So only roughly about a little bit under 8,000 subscribers and 4,000 on this stream alone is absolutely insane. So thank you everyone for coming in to watch and watch the results come in with me. I really appreciate it, and I hope you're enjoying it and you'll enjoy the rest of the results that come in as well. But I just wanted to take a second to say thank you for taking time for that. Let's see here. I do like your commentary. Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. Excellent. I'll call it. Gallrein has won. Yeah, it's certainly 33,828 votes now. Certainly seems like Gallrein is leading right now. 55.1% to 44.9. 3,500 vote lead. The odds here are very strong for Gallrein right now. 98.9 on Polymarket, 98.4 on Kalshi. Unless, again, the only way Massie could find a way to win here is if votes have to come in probably out of Boone County and Kenton County that cut these margins to like an 8-point win for Gallrein. You need Massie to get to like basically almost winning these counties to have a chance at this current point in time here to win, because Boone County in this the last vote dump here, it's roughly about a 1,200 vote lead for Gallrein over Massie in this one. Kenton County is roughly about a 500 vote lead for Gallrein over Massie. So these two alone, roughly, again, what, 1,000, another 500, about 1,500 vote lead. Across the whole district, it's 3,500. So the math is getting hard for Massie, even though there's still another like 3/4 of the vote to go. The math is getting a little hard for Massie to make up these margins here. Looks like Gallrein has a pretty significant lead at this current point in time. The only way I think Massie loses or Massie wins is if something we haven't seen all night really comes out of nowhere and gives some added votes here. Let's see. It'll be interesting to see how much each of those costs. It is good to see. It is interesting to see how votes. I know after losing his primary, Bill Cassidy already started to vote against a lot of the things Trump wants in the Senate. I know the vote today on the Iran war vote, I think it was. That's going to be interesting to see. Thomas Massie, he's already voting against the president a lot. I'm sure that'll even pick up if he does ultimately lose his primary. See, it's good you stay neutral, Anthony. Yeah, I just like, I mean, watching the results come in, it's not really, not trying to pick a side as the results come in, just trying to analyze them in the moment. So I'm not trying to like let any of my own thoughts like kind of skew the results come in or nothing. I'm trying to stay as neutral as possible. I just hit the button. I really appreciate you doing that. Kathy Trillo, whatever. It's instant loss if you have Bober at your side. I mean, it looks like it right now. 55.2 to 44.8. Looks like got some more votes. 29.07% of the vote in here. It seems that as each vote dump comes in, it seems Gallrein's lead is getting like even larger over Thomas Massie now. What's that? That's roughly about 3,000 votes would bring it up to about 18,087. So another 700 from there. So yeah, 3,700 vote lead now. So another 200 vote net lead for Gallrein over Massie here. Again, it's just as more votes have come in, Gallrein seems to keep doing strong. He seems to keep doing stronger. Massie, if he's going to win, he's going to have to pull votes essentially out of nowhere, out of the map right now, because the votes that are in just not looking good for him. Spencer County had a lot of votes come in, it looks like. Nelson County still 1.13%, but Spencer County has had a lot of votes come in, about half the votes in now. Another net 600 votes for Gallrein over Massie here. 1,473 votes to 807. A lead of roughly about 64.6 to 35.6 in Spencer County for Ed Gallrein. Henry County, 74.17% of the votes in here now. Gallrein's at roughly about 1,300 votes. Massie's at 964. So that is also a very significant lead for Ed Gallrein there. Oldham County is still unchanged from earlier. Gallrein's at 52.26%, 47.74, a net of about 140 votes or so. Looks like we just got some more votes out, or got some of our first votes, excuse me, out of Campbell County. So Campbell County, by estimated vote remaining at the start of the night, I think was number 3 on the list. It has 72,000 total registered voters, 34,776 Republicans. There's still roughly about 11,909 voters to go here, but with a 1,791 votes in. And yeah, more good news for Ed Gallrein, more bad news for Thomas Massie. These results have come in. 980 votes for Ed Gallrein, 811 for Thomas Massie, 54.72 to 45.28. So again, as more votes have come in, now roughly 31% of the vote in, it looks better and better for Ed Gallrein over Thomas Massie as more of these results are coming in here. Let's see. Oh, I missed a bunch of comments. Okay. Let's see. The Bobert one was the last comment I read, I think. So polls are really accurate. Yeah. I mean, polls seem to be doing all right here. I think one of the final polls was like Gallrein +7, I think, was the one from yesterday. There was one from today that showed it 50-50. I think that one might be off a little bit right now, but I mean, it's okay. It's what polls are never 100%, but that's all right. Massie will catch up. The first votes are coming in from postal voting. I mean, yeah, Ed Gallrein's leading by a lot right now. He is up by roughly about 4,000 votes, but as I've been saying, I wouldn't rush to call it. I'd wait for all the votes to come in because there is enough mathematically for Thomas Massie to come back, but he needs the results to start coming in strongly for him. And Gallrein's building up quite a large lead. I wouldn't be shocked if, as more votes come in, Massie starts to narrow it a little bit, but as each vote dump comes in, I mean, they're looking better and better for Ed Gallrein, so I have to wait and see there. Rand Paul next. He's up in what, 2028, I believe. Yeah, that could be an interesting one. Murkowski needs to go also. Massey took the money from Qatar. Far left, code ping. Gallrei's on a runaway Trump Express train. Let's see here. Oh, got some more comments here. Massey's like, let's go ahead. A lot of Disney here. Because Massie is against. Yep. Oldham County will probably go for Massie. Lots of people with college degrees live there, and it's the richest county in Kentucky. Both are demographically disadvantageous for MAGA candidates. Interesting. I do believe it is pretty close right now. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So, kind of going off your comment about Massie potentially winning here, at only 24% of the vote in, he is down Massie by about 140 votes here. So, as more vote comes in, that's certainly possible. That Oldham might flip for Massie as more votes come in. Still, we got a little more vote now, 31.3% across the district here. Gallrein leading 55.23 to 44.77. Now, literally almost exactly a 4,000 vote lead for Ed Gallrein over Thomas Massie. So, what started out as like a 500 vote lead for Gallrein over Massie is now up to 4,000 in the span of about, what's that, an hour or so? Yeah, so in about an hour, it's gone from 500 votes to a 4,000 vote lead for Gallrein over Massie in that one. Who do you think will win the Senate now that Ken Paxton has the endorsement? I do have a video coming out about that tomorrow. It's going to be really close. I do think Paxton has a narrow edge right now, but I think it's like a 2018, like 3 points or under type win right now. But certainly waiting for more polling and info to come out on that. President Trump's approval ratings and the Republican congressional lead right now, or Republican versus Democrat congressional lead for the Democrats right now is not giving the Republicans any favors. So I think the Republicans are barely ahead in Texas right now, but definitely keeping a close eye on that one because that could be even potentially maybe a Democratic flip, which in Texas never would have thought that's possible, but it might be. 32.99% of the vote in now, so another about 2% has come in. Gallrein's at 55.28%, 44.72 for Thomas Massie. Gallrein's at 22,250. Massie's at 17,996 votes here across the district. So over 4,000 votes now, it looks like. About 4,200 or so separating this race. In this race, maybe 4,300. And let's go by the margin map now just to see here. Overall margins, a large lead in Spencer County of about 600 votes. And the percentages there, roughly about 30 points. Boone County, still votes remain unchanged, but a large lead for Gallrein over Massie there, roughly about 1,000 vote lead there. Kenton County, another 500 vote lead for Gallrein over Massie in that one. And now Campbell County as well, adding to that list in that group. Lewis County, which we do believe is Thomas Massie's home county, 800 vote lead for Massie there. Greenup County, now around 63.5% of the vote in. Gallrein is leading here over Massie by, what's that, about 800 votes? But 800 votes, excuse me, in Greenup County in this one. Okay, so that's where it's updated on that side of things. Let's see. Yep, the chat poll still has the race as 50-50 with over 214 people voting, still 50-50 between Massie versus Ed Gallrein. Kathy came back with the dark side. Do you think Dan Osborne can win Nebraska? I definitely think it's possible, especially I think Nebraska and Texas in a way are kind of similar, which is I think they both start out in the Republican favor to win. But if the election is such a good night for the Democrats, like there's a potential for it to be, I both think Nebraska and Texas are in play of potentially going blue. I think they both start out as favored to go red, but I think they both could go blue if the Democrats have a big enough wave type of election. 34.1% of the vote. 23,000 votes for Ed Gallrein. Thomas Massie's at 18,534. So that's about what? That's 4,500 vote lead now for Gallrein over Massie. So again, as more votes will come in, 34.75%. It seems to be expanding for Gallrein as more votes have come in now. Now 23,862, 18,535. So that's now 5,300 votes. So even more of an expanding lead for Gallrein over Massie as more votes has come in. Wow. Okay. So yeah, as more votes have come in now, up to the percentages as well. 56.28% for Gallrein, 43.72 for Thomas Massie. I gotta tell you, a nearly 13% lead for Gallrein over Massie. I was definitely not expecting this at this point in time for the night. This is it is interesting. I thought it would be a very close race. If Gallrein was leading, I thought it'd be by a few points or so. But 13% with over about a third of the vote in, very, very interesting. Polymarket, 98.7% chance for Gallrein to win. Calci, 98.6%. That remains relatively unchanged. In terms of the estimated reported vote in here, Robertson County is now at 95%. Pendleton County is at 92.15%. Harrison County is also mostly in, 91.95% in. Still about 100 votes left to go there. Gallrein's leading by a very significant amount. Mason County, which is the one that Thomas Massey is narrowly winning here, is also 90% in. Bracken County now up to 89.08%. So a lot of these counties very quietly had a lot of votes come in rather quickly here. They're more towards, I would say, like the smaller population size of a lot of these areas. I mean, Harrison County's got 14,000 total votes, about 6,000 Republican ones that have come in, but more on the smaller side, these counties are coming in quickly. The ones with still 10,000 votes left to go or above here, which I believe there are currently 5 counties left that have more than 10,000 votes. They're either 33% in, 28%, 13%, 0% out of Shelby, or 23.8% out of Oldham. So still a lot of vote left out there for grabs. So still 2/3 of the vote left to go. But of the vote that's come in thus far, Ed Gallrein is doing very strongly in these areas. Let's see here. I expect them to take care of it. I thought Massey was going to get blown out. I thought Massie was going to blown out. I'm surprised. Yep. Getting blown out right now, it seems. Back in, what did I miss? Ed Gallrein's blowing out Thomas Massie at this current point in time. That's kind of what's going on right here. Voting in the general election. Interesting. Okay. Also, Let's want to again looked over at the stream here. Nearly 7,000 people have watched since I started the stream about an hour and a half ago. So again, thank you everyone for watching. It's absolutely crazy. I really appreciate you taking time to watch that. The chat poll, which I have going in the chat, Ed Gallrein's favored to win 52%. Massie's at 48%. As these results have come in, certainly not reflective of the current vote totals on the screen here, but looks like we got some more vote in as well. Now 39.57% across the district. Gallrein's at 55.58%. Massie's at 44.42. Well, it looks like we got even more vote. 48.82% of the vote has come in. So it looks like we got a very significant vote dump here out of Boone County. Overall, let's go sort by votes here. You have Boone County now 19,000 votes in, and this is definitely bad news for Thomas Massie. Boone County has come in 83.09% of the vote now in. So 19,000 total votes, still about a little under 4,000 votes left to go here. But Ed Gallrein's beating Thomas Massie here by quite a bit. Overall, a 2,000 vote net advantage for Ed Gallrein over Massie in Boone County, 55.13% to 44.87. Overall raw votes, 10,503 to 8,550. So with nearly half of the vote in, Ed Gallrein is now leading over Thomas Massie by over 6,000 votes. Again, it started out roughly 500 vote difference. Nearly 6,000 vote lead for Gallrein over Massie in the primary thus far, with nearly half of the vote in. In terms of the margin here, yeah, no doubt, 83% in, Boone County, massive, massive win for Ed Gallrein. Certainly not good news for Thomas Massie in this race. In terms of estimated vote remaining, now that Boone is in, it's still in the top 5 for counties that have votes left to go here. Kenton County, Shelby, and Oldham are all above 10,000 votes still. Campbell County has had some votes come in as well. Roughly 55.6% of the vote in there, 83% in for Boone County. I mean, there's not really too much to say other than this has been a very good night for Ed Gallrein, very good night for President Trump, and certainly a pretty poor night for Thomas Massie thus far, as over half the vote, or nearly half the vote, is in. Again, unless things rapidly start changing for Thomas Massie, the results are starting to look pretty hard to imagine Thomas Massie making up this margin at this current point in time, which isn't really much of a surprise as we've seen the results come in. But just to state the obvious, it looks like Ed Gallrein should probably win this and win this pretty handily as the rest of the votes start to come in. But Boone County is huge. I do believe by total Republican registration in this district, Boone County is the second largest at 57,960. Only Kenton County is larger, but both of these are roughly right around solid wins for Ed Gallrein. So Thomas Massie is certainly running out of room here to try and come back if he is going to come back, but again, not looking like it's going to happen right now. In terms of the percentages, Robertson County, Pendleton, Harrison, and Mason are all 90% or above. Bracken and Boone are in the 80s now. Certainly looking very strong for Ed Gallrein there. I'll take a look at the chat, then we'll start going through county by county, just showing the results and where they're at in terms of overall votes and such. Let's see here. Okay. So now 51-49 for Gallrein over Massie in the chat poll. Okay, so let's start going county by county. We'll start with Nelson County. Still only 1.13%. It's tiny in population. Nelson County, I do believe. No, it's pretty decently sized, actually. Roughly about 10,000 registered Republicans, expected to have around 3,700 or so Republican voters. And it's listed, not Spencer County, sorry. It's listed at 31-11 in terms of overall votes. Spencer County, 78.84% of the vote in there, and 63.18% have come in for Gallrein. 36.82 has come in for Thomas Massie, so certainly a big lead for Gallrein in Spencer County. 49.21% of the vote in there. Let's see here. Thoughts on Iowa, Turek versus Wall Senate race? I'm an Iowan. Iowa 1 to be happy with either. It's tough because there hasn't been a ton of polling in that one. I think I have seen Turek is the leading candidate in terms of the polls thus far, and I think he has more notable endorsements. So I'd say Turek is probably favored in that one, but again, we'll have to wait and see for the results come in. When do the polls close? In 20 minutes. The 8 p.m. Eastern, yeah, polls close at 20 minutes or 8 p.m. I think that's going to be Alabama. Georgia, I think Georgia is closed. I want to say it's 7, so those may have been closed for a while, but Alabama's, I think, should be closing at 8 as well. Let's see. Okay. 49.77% of the vote in now. The overall votes across the district, 33,272 for Ed Gallrein. Thomas Massie at 27,452. Overall, a total of 60,724 votes, roughly about halfway through the election. So that 120,000 vote number is looking pretty much on point for how the votes are overall going to end up being, right around 120 to 121,000. The breakdown feature still isn't working too much for me, so I'll probably just leave that for now, but that's okay. So yeah, 49.7, we'll look at Henry County, about 74% of the vote in there, and a 58.09 to 41.98 lead for Ed Gallrein there. Owen County, still 31% in, a 9-point lead for Gallrein. Carroll County is now mostly in at 93.48%. It's smaller in terms of overall votes, but Ed Gallrein is leading here percentage-wise, very large, about 15 points. Overall, it is roughly about a 140 vote or so difference in Carroll. Gallatin County. Oh, and we officially have a call from Decision Desk HQ. They've officially called the race at 7:41 p.m. for Ed Gallrein to defeat Thomas Massie in the 4th Congressional District. So a very, very big call for Decision Desk. Thomas Massie, the Republican incumbent, very vocal anti-Trump Republican incumbent, faced off against the Trump-backed challenger Ed Gallrein, and President Trump got his wish and defeated Thomas Massie in this Republican primary, with still under 50% of the vote to go. But as more numbers came in from these counties, it became clearer and clearer that Ed Gallrein had very great numbers. These numbers coming in looks like it'd be insurmountable for Thomas Massie. Still waiting for more votes to come in just to be 100% careful on my end, but Decision Desk HQ, based on the amount of vote that's outstanding and the amount of margins of votes that have been coming in, have made the decision to call the race for Ed Gallrein. Not really too much of a surprise when you look at the results in thus far, but Ed Gallrein has been officially declared the winner. Thomas Massie has lost his Republican primary to the President Trump-backed challenger, Ed Gallrein. Again, that happened at 7:41 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So these polls in this district closed at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so it took about an hour and 41 minutes for the race to be called for the challenger, Ed Gallrein, in this race. So officially called in this one here. Let's see, comments, go Massie, go Massie. Let's see here. Yep. Another one bites the dust. Yep. I was like President Trump's track record in the Republican primaries, like general election, maybe different, can be debatable, but for the primaries, President Trump has a lot of pull in these primaries, and he takes down the incumbent U.S. Representative Thomas Massie. Now 49.86% of the vote in, and Ed Gallrein wins this Republican primary. Just really quickly, I haven't looked on the Senate races in a while, so doing a quick check-in here. Charles Booker is now taking the lead over Amy McGrath by about a under 3-point lead for Booker over McGrath in this one, though Booker is still the odds-on favorite to win by a significant margin. On the Republican side, Andy Barr, the Republican also endorsed by President Trump, has been declared the winner over Daniel Cameron, the former Republican nominee for governor, I do believe, in 2023 against Andy Beshear. President Trump backed Barr, and Barr has won this race. And Trump has backed Ed Gallrein, and Gallrein has also won this race as well. Also, a few more votes have come in. 52.56% of the vote has come in. And now over 35,000 votes for Ed Gallrein at 54.83%. Thomas Massie, 28,914 votes, 45.17%. 64,000 votes now across the district. So very big performance by Ed Gallrein. Certainly the support of President Trump pushing behind him definitely helped out. Now Ed Gallrein has been declared the winner from Decision Desk HQ. And as for the general election in this district, this should be a pretty reliably red seat, as I showed earlier here in 2024. It wasn't even a primary opponent for the Democrats in this district. In 2022, Massie won it by 34 points. So I imagine that Ed Gallrein will probably win this race by a pretty significant margin in the general election. I don't know if it's going to be as large as Thomas Massie's, especially in a more Democratic midterm environment in 2026 than, say, 2022 was, but the Republicans should still win here pretty handily. Got some more vote, 57.85% of the vote has come in. Campbell County is now up to 73.07% of the vote. I do believe that's where a lot of the vote dump came in from there. In Campbell County, and Gallrein's leading here, 51.96 to 48.04. So that is roughly about, what's that? A little bit under 2,000 votes, about 1,600 or so votes out of Campbell County going to Ed Gallrein's margins here. Boone County still remains unchanged in the votes it has as well. But in terms of overall counties that are in, Gallatin County, now a 21.3% win by percentages for Ed Gallrein. He's won 0 votes left to go there, 0 votes left to go in Mason County as well. Thomas Massie does end up winning in that county. And Oldham County looks like it has a lot of votes that have come in. 71.91% have come in this county. Thomas Massie is actually taking the lead in this county, like the commenter said not too long ago. Oldham County now going for Massie, 4,978 votes to 4,650, 51.7 to 48.3% in Oldham County. So a 300 vote net gain there for Thomas Massie in this county. Overall, though, across the district, ultimately not enough for Thomas Massie. He's currently trailing for Gallrein, 38,085 votes. Massie's at 32,372. So nearly under 6,000 votes, roughly about 5,700 votes or so, separating Ed Gallrein and Thomas Massie in this race. Obviously, Polymarket and Kalshi all over 99% for Ed Gallrein to win. Going to be very interesting to see ultimately as these votes come in, the remaining 43%, does this margin narrow of roughly about a 8 to 9 point win for Gallrein over Massie? Does it narrow up? Does it get larger? We'll have to wait and see how it all come in. But certainly a very big win for Ed Gallrein here. And wow, the chat is popping off. Let's see here. Hello, Blue Wave. Welcome to the live stream. Always like checking, seeing you on here. So good to see you again. Let's see here. Oh, wow. Since we started the stream, over 9,442 views. Definitely this has been the most viewed, most successful live stream I've done on the channel so far. So thank you everybody for watching and being part of it. I really appreciate you all coming to check this out. Looks we got some more voted now. 69.45% of the vote is in. I was hoping it was going to be around 67% of the vote. It would have been funny. But 69.45% of the vote is now in after the race has been called. Teams' votes are coming in pretty quickly here. Ed Gallrein now at 53.77%. Thomas Massie is at 46.23%. 45,480 votes for Gallrein, 39,109 for Thomas Massie. Roughly overall, about a 6,300 vote lead, it seems, for Gallrein over Massie in this race. So it might have narrowed up a little bit in terms of the percentages, I think, but the vote totals overall might have expanded. So I don't know, maybe I'm doing math wrong there. But Kenton County, it seems to be where the votes have come from. Kenton County, one of the larger ones in terms of GOP registration. It is the largest in the district based on that metric. Still 621 votes to go, but now 95% of the vote in or more. 19,000 total votes out of Kenton County. And it is going for Ed Gallrein, 52.86% to 47.14%. For Thomas Massie, overall vote numbers, roughly about 1,000 vote lead. 10,542 for Ed Gallrein, 9,402 for Thomas Massie. So very, very big for Gallrein over Massie across the district. Kenton County ended up being relatively close, really about a 5-point gap, closer than the district as a whole, but these numbers come in big for Ed Gallrein. You look at the margin of victory here, still Boone County right next door to Kenton County is the largest for Ed Gallrein. Overall, 55.13 to 44.87 by percent. Raw vote totals, roughly about a 2,000 vote difference for Gallrein over Massie, 10,503 to 8,550. In Boone County, and throughout the rest of the district, we can see here some big areas for Gallrein as well. Spencer County, by margin, is pretty big, roughly about 30 points nearly. Some of these counties, Harrison counties, come in about 91.95%, a 13-point margin here for Gallrein. Pendleton counties come in 15 points. Grant county's coming in also about 33% as well. Greenup County as well coming in roughly 19%. For Thomas Massie, Oldham County is about 300 vote difference. Overall, about 3% lead for Thomas Massie there. Mason County is about a 33% or 33 vote, 1.7% lead or so for Massie in that one. And then Massie's home county in Lewis County is his largest win thus far, 63-37 in that one. So only 3 counties currently voting for Thomas Massie over Ed Gallrein. The rest of them all voting for Gallrein. Is significant that Oldham County did ultimately end up flipping, as the commenter suggested, but definitely not enough with all the votes that Ed Gallrein is currently getting. Now, with about 70% of the vote in, we're at 85,140 votes across the district, waiting for the last, now we're just past 70%, now we're at 70.07% of the vote in, 85,339. Gallrein just passed 46,000 total votes. Mass is at 39,317, roughly about a little bit under a 7,000 vote lead for Ed Gallrein, about 6,700 votes leading for Gallrein in this district. If you're just joining the stream, if you haven't been here in the last few minutes, Ed Gallrein's officially been projected as the winner from Decision Desk HQ in this race. Ed Gallrein officially going to be the Republican nominee for this district, and the race will probably win by a pretty handy amount in the general election in 2026. And so, yeah, President Trump's handpicked candidate in Ed Gallrein has won this Republican primary. Thomas Massie, the President Trump vocal critic, did not win this race. He ended up losing the Republican primary. So President Trump and the MAGA wing of the Republican Party certainly got their wish on this one. Thomas Massie and his supporters lost in this race. Still, we have about 30% of the vote to go here. Again, forecasting roughly for around 120,000 votes is what Decision Desk HQ is reporting. In terms of the overall vote, got another 2% up to 72.32% of the vote is coming here. There aren't too many counties that don't have any vote left to come in. Shelby County, one of the larger in terms of GOP registration, I do believe. They are the 5th largest county by overall GOP registration. They don't have any votes in yet. There aren't any votes in yet out of Nelson County, aside from 42 votes. So we still have a little bit of ways to go on that one. But then Trimble County is at 13.8%, Owen County is at 31.08%, and then Carter County is at 50%. So aside from those 2 counties, a lot of counties are trying to report their votes now. And to this current point in time, is just really waiting for what counties have not come in yet. But a lot of them are getting close to being fully reported. 95% in Gallatin and Mason, 95% now in Robertson, only 12 votes remaining there. Carroll County, 68 votes left to go there, 93.48. Bracken County is at 143 votes, 89.08 in there as well. So getting very close to being done. Also 95% in Kenton County, as I just went over there, and Mason County. As for estimated votes remaining, still 10,000 votes out of Shelby County, but the Decision Desk HQ, I imagine they made this decision with the amount of votes that are left outstanding, that are left to go. Just, it's a 7,000 vote lead nearly across the district between Gallrein and Massie. Essentially, all the votes left outstanding would have to come in for Thomas Massie for him to be able to flip the district red. And just the margins in which these counties are coming in, including with Lewis County being mostly in, still about another 24% left to go there. But the amount of votes, 7,000 votes, there just was not enough across the district. There was not 7,000 votes for Thomas Massie to make up that margin and defeat Ed Gallrein. Ed Gallrein, the Trump-backed candidate, wins this race, wins it pretty handily. Now we're just waiting for the final votes for the final margin here. And it doesn't read chat for 10 years. Sorry, there's a lot going on. Let's see. Listen, do you believe my hyper-competitive Texas prediction? Yeah. Ken Paxton versus James Talarico, Texas, definitely going to be very competitive now. So that definitely has aged very, very well. Let's see here. The poll chat for the race ended up being 50-50 with 345 votes between Massie versus Gallrein. So direct even split. But ultimately, as we see it on the site, Ed Gallrein has won this race, and there's remaining for the final 28% of the vote to come in. Massie got swift voted. Yeah, so overall, I mean, just looking at these areas here, again, I talked about the beginning of the live stream, which was nearly, hour and a half ago now or so, that we didn't really have too much to go off of in this district and compared to competitive primaries, because Massie in 2024 didn't really have a competitive primary. But you look at the counties where the votes have come in now, 73% of the vote in here. And aside from a handful of counties, Ed Gallrein won pretty much everywhere. Now, varying degrees, he won in the counties by the overall largest GOP registration, like Kenton County, Boone County, and Campbell County. He won them by strong enough margins. Like Boone, he's winning it by roughly about 2,000 votes. Kenton County, Gallrein ended up defeating Massie here by also about 1,000 votes. So it's about 3,000 votes just from those two counties alone. Campbell County was closer, but another 600 or so vote gain for Gallrein over there. So you're getting very, very good margins for Gallrein out of these three counties that have the most GOP registration amongst them. In terms of overall votes here, again, similar numbers here, 19,000, 19,000, and 12,500 out of those three counties. And Ed Gallrein certainly did what he had to do in those counties. And then Thomas Massie just not performing strong enough across the district in these areas that voted for Gallrein. Probably looking across the map, roughly about a 6,900 vote lead for Ed Gallrein here. Thomas Massie probably didn't have to win all these counties to try and win this race, but he had to probably win these three counties at very least, or make Boone much, much closer. And he had to do better in a lot of these areas, and he just didn't do that. It's just Ed Gallrein performed very strongly in these counties. Clearly, the messaging of him and President Trump and their joint effort certainly worked, and Thomas Massie's just did not have enough votes in these areas to make up for the combined effort of the support of President Trump in this district. That's really where things are with 73% of the vote in here. Massie this is Massie order. Yeah, okay, so that's where things currently sit right now. We're coming up on about 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Chat's been going on, or the stream's been going on for about 1 hour and 38 minutes. I'll give it a few more minutes, probably, just as more results come in here. The race has already been called. I may hop back on later tonight if I want to do any of the Senate races and such for, I think it's Georgia, and see where that's going, in the governor's race as well, but been going for about an hour and a half, so I may hop off in just a little bit. But I do want to say thank you, everybody, for watching the stream. It's been over 11,424 views on the live stream, by far my most successful by overall view count. So I really appreciate you taking time to do that. So I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking time to watch. I'll give it still a few more minutes, but I just want to say thank you now, everyone, for hopping in here. Bottom line, oh, now I got a few more votes come in. Now 79.67. There we go. There's the meme. 79.67% of the vote in. Ed Gallrein's at 54.21%. Thomas Massie's at 45.79%. Overall actual votes, Gallrein's at 52,604. Thomas Massie's at 44,436. Large reason being Shelby County, which did not have any votes that had come in, has finally come in a pretty considerable amount. 77.57% of the vote came in out of Shelby County. And like the story of the night, Ed Gallrein did very strongly here, getting 57.85% to 42.15% for Thomas Massie. Overall votes, 4,648 for Gallrein, 3,387 for Thomas Massie. That's another 1,300 votes gained for Ed Gallrein in Shelby County. So a very significant amount that has come in for Gallrein in Shelby County. As for the overall across the district now, we're reaching at 97,040 votes, right around 80% of the vote. So still roughly another 20,000 or so estimated votes left to go. In terms of the county with the most votes left to go is Boone County, which even though it has 19,000 votes already in, there's still about 3,800 votes left out there to come in out of Boone. Oldham County, which has 9,000 votes in, still has about another 3,761 votes. Nelson County, though it's smaller in population compared to some of these other ones, still has about 3,700 votes left to go for Nelson. Greenup County, about 2,000 votes. Shelby County, even though it just came in, another 2,000 votes left to go there. So we're into the final. We don't have any more counties with like 10,000 votes left to go now. We're all 4,000 votes or under for the remainder of these counties. But it's very big. It's very clear here that Ed Gallrein had a very resounding win across this district tonight, in the district that Thomas Massie has represented for a very long time. Let's see, Massie's represented it since 2022. Let's go back, 2020, 2018, the 4th district, 2016, Thomas Massie represented it, 2014, Massie represented it, 2012, Okay, so it looks like 2012 was the first election that Thomas Massie won in this district of the general election. He's represented this race, or this district, the Kentucky 4th District, since 2012. And in this district, with the backing of President Trump and the full support of him, Ed Gallrein is able to defeat the Republican incumbent, Thomas Massie, and defeat another Republican incumbent that President Trump disagreed with, obviously, or didn't vote 100% with President Trump. Also taking place tonight, the Republican Senate primary in Kentucky. Trump backed Andy Barr with over 35% of the vote in. Andy Barr has been declared the winner in this one as well. This is the race to succeed Republican incumbent Senator Mitch McConnell. And Andy Barr is at 59.78%. He's already been declared the winner over Daniel Cameron, getting 30.96% of the vote. For the Democratic side of things, Charles Booker now leading in this race, 41.98%. Amy McGrath now behind Charles Booker, who's leading 39.65%. And just a quick final look here on the U.S. House 4th District, 54.21% for Ed Gallrein, 45.79% for Thomas Massie. So obviously big story of the night. Ed Gallrein, backed by President Trump, comes in, defeats Thomas Massie, the vocal President Trump critic in the U.S. House. It's going to be interesting to see now, as the Republicans have a very narrow majority in the House, 220 to 215, when all the vacancies are filled. It'll be interesting to see how Thomas Massie decides to vote, if he helps the president or the Republicans on votes at all, or does he maybe double down like Bill Cassidy seems to be doing and voting against everything in spite for losing the primary. We'll have to wait and see ultimately how it all shakes out. But yeah, we've now been going for about an hour and 43 minutes. So I am going to wrap the stream up here. I do appreciate everyone coming to watch. Undecided if I'm going to hop back on to a live stream later for the Senate races in Georgia and the governor's race in Georgia and the Senate race in Alabama. But for now, the main one I wanted to focus on was the House district in the 4th for Ed Gallrein versus Thomas Massie. Ed Gallrein wins, and he wins by a pretty resounding amount. Okay, so that is going to do it. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I really greatly appreciate you doing that and being here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you. If you've enjoyed, I hope you like and subscribe. I hope to see you either in a future video or a future live stream. Thank you guys so much, and see you in another video.